There's a town in America where the government evacuated everyone and still won't say why. The roads were sealed, the homes were left behind, and the weirdest part? It's still called Helltown on the map. America loves a good small-town story. Porch swings, county fairs, and that one local cop who knows your dog's name. But there's another side of the map, where the street lights flicker even when there's no power. Ask the locals about the screaming in the woods, and they'll just tell you, don't ask. These aren't haunted attractions with gift shops and tour guides. These are real towns, forgotten, abandoned, buried, or simply left to decay. Some are toxic. Some are surrounded by legends. A few are still waiting for their final resident to leave. We're counting down 18 of the creepiest small towns in America, including one with a fully stocked library but no one left to borrow the books. Think you know creepy towns? Do you know the one that changed states without moving an inch? Or the desert town where people swear the air itself makes visitors disappear? Trust me, you're not ready for what's coming. Subscribe now, because the next time you accidentally turn onto a lonely back road, you'll know exactly which towns you should never stop in. Number 18, Dudleytown, Connecticut. There's a place in Connecticut where the population dropped to zero, but somehow the fear never left. No electricity. No residents. No welcome sign. Just abandoned foundations hidden beneath trees that reclaimed the land faster than people ever could. Dudleytown began like many early colonial settlements, with log homes, small farms, and families hoping to build a future. Hidden inside a valley now surrounded by dense forest, it reached its peak during the mid-1700s when only a few dozen families lived there. Life seemed ordinary until tragedy after tragedy struck. Crops failed. Disease spread. Some residents reportedly went blind. Others suffered mental illness. Stories claim one man wandered into the woods and never returned, while another died screaming after a mysterious fall. Historians blame poor farmland, isolation, and economic decline. Local legends blame an ancient curse connected to England's Dudley family. Whatever the truth, the town emptied quickly. Even later attempts to resettle the area failed. Today the land is privately protected, access is closed, and trespassing laws are strictly enforced. Hikers occasionally report overwhelming panic or unexplained disorientation, though there's no scientific evidence supporting paranormal claims. One Reddit user described it perfectly. Nothing happened. That's the problem. I've never wanted to leave somewhere faster. Dudleytown isn't frightening because something jumps out at you. It's frightening because almost nothing happens at all. No birds. No wind. Just silence so complete that your own breathing suddenly sounds too loud. Every snapping branch feels personal. Every old stone wall looks like it has been waiting centuries for someone to notice it. Damp leaves cover forgotten paths, your phone loses signal, and before long you're wondering whether the forest has become quieter or if you've simply stopped hearing the outside world. If an abandoned town feels unsettling, wait until you visit one where people still live, but the sun practically disappears for months. Number 17, Skagway, Alaska. Welcome to a town where the population triples every summer, only for winter to arrive and transform everything. Skagway is a historic gold rush town clinging to Alaska's rugged coastline. During summer it's packed with cruise ships, scenic railways, and visitors exploring its colorful streets. Then October arrives. The cruise ships leave. Businesses close. Daylight shrinks dramatically. What's left behind is silence, darkness, and a feeling that the world has suddenly become much smaller. You might assume Skagway's most unsettling stories come from its Wild West past, filled with con artists, gunfights, and unsolved crimes. Instead, locals say winter itself changes people. Long periods of darkness disrupt sleep, affect moods, and can intensify seasonal depression. Cabin fever here isn't just an expression. It's something health professionals openly discuss. The permanent population sits below 1,000, dropping even lower during the off-season. Jobs rely heavily on tourism, year-round housing is difficult to find, and mental health resources become limited once visitors leave. Crime remains very low, but isolation becomes the real challenge. Residents joke that the lights stay on not because they need to see, but because they don't want to feel alone. Imagine waking at 10 in the morning while it still feels like midnight. You step outside into freezing air, hear nothing except snow falling onto more snow, and watch the sun disappear again before dinner. Repeat that for weeks, and you begin to understand why people describe Skagway as psychologically unsettling rather than traditionally haunted. The cold isn't just freezing. It's damp, relentless, and seems to seep through every layer of clothing. Walking to the post office becomes an adventure that makes you question every decision that brought you there. If you think darkness is terrifying, wait until we visit a town where an abandoned hotel became the center of decades of ghost stories. Number 16, Mineral Wells, Texas. There's an old hotel in Texas so famous for ghost stories that paranormal investigators travel across the country just to spend a night nearby. Welcome to Mineral Wells, once one of America's most popular spa destinations thanks to its mineral-rich water. During the early 1900s, people traveled hundreds of miles believing the water could heal almost anything. The city's most famous landmark, the Baker Hotel, welcomed celebrities, politicians, and wealthy visitors. Today it stands as one of Texas' most recognizable historic buildings, surrounded by stories of unexplained footsteps, strange noises, and ghostly sightings. Mineral Wells itself remains a small community of around 15,000 people with relatively affordable housing. Tourism still plays an important role, especially during ghost tours and paranormal events. Locals have long shared stories of cold spots, sleep paralysis, and electronic devices behaving strangely inside historic buildings. Whether those experiences have ordinary explanations or not depends entirely on who you ask. Downtown feels caught between restoration and abandonment. Some buildings have been beautifully preserved while others still show decades of neglect. Picture yourself walking through the Baker Hotel at dusk. Dust floats through broken sunlight, peeling paint hangs from old walls, and every creaking floorboard makes you stop for just a second longer than you intended. You glance into an old mirror, convinced someone was standing behind you a moment ago. Then you blink, and the reflection is empty again. Even the famous mineral water still flows today, carrying its unmistakable metallic smell that visitors either appreciate or immediately regret tasting. Mineral Wells doesn't feel abandoned. It feels like it's patiently waiting for something. Number 15. Cairo, Illinois. Cairo should have become one of America's greatest river cities. It sits where the Ohio and Mississippi rivers meet, one of the most strategically important locations in the country. Instead, it became one of America's most dramatic examples of urban decline. Stand on the levee and you'll see endless river traffic carrying goods across the nation. Turn around and you'll find empty storefronts, abandoned buildings, and streets that seem frozen in time. Cairo once had a population exceeding 15,000. Today only a small fraction remains. Thousands of buildings sit vacant, homes sell for astonishingly low prices, and many properties still struggle to attract buyers. Historians point to decades of economic decline, racial tensions, population loss, and reduced investment. Residents describe the town as quiet rather than dangerous. One local summed it up online by saying, "It's not scary because something's chasing you. It's scary because almost nobody's left." Living here means affordable housing but limited services, fewer jobs, and long drives for everyday necessities. Delivery drivers often joke that navigation apps still direct them toward buildings that disappeared years ago. Imagine waking to thick river fog drifting past your window. No traffic. No rush hour. Just birds, water, and silence stretching across entire neighborhoods. At first it feels peaceful. Eventually the silence becomes its own kind of weight. If abandoned buildings seem unsettling, wait until we visit the town where the ground itself has been burning for more than 60 years. Number 14, Centralia, Pennsylvania. There's a town in Pennsylvania where an underground fire has been burning continuously since 1962. Roads crack open. Steam rises from the ground. Smoke escapes through deep fissures in the earth. Welcome to Centralia, one of America's most famous abandoned towns. It began as an ordinary coal mining community until a fire ignited inside an underground coal seam. The flames spread beneath the town through old mining tunnels, eventually making large sections unsafe. During the 1980s, the federal government funded a massive relocation effort, purchasing homes and encouraging residents to move away. Most accepted. A handful refused. Today, only a few people remain under special legal agreements allowing them to stay for the rest of their lives. Most homes have been demolished, roads removed, and entire neighborhoods reclaimed by nature, while the underground fire is expected to continue burning for generations. Visitors come hoping to see a real-life post-apocalyptic landscape. They find cracked pavement, sulfur smells, steam vents, and an eerie silence unlike anywhere else. The strangest part isn't the fire itself. It's how slowly the disaster unfolded. For years, different agencies debated responsibility while the fire quietly spread beneath the town. Imagine stepping outside your front door and watching smoke drift through cracks in your driveway while the ground beneath your feet stays unnaturally warm. Your dog refuses to leave the yard because even animals seem to sense something isn't right. The neighborhood is gone. The streets lead nowhere. Yet beneath everything, the fire never stops burning. If a town built above an underground fire isn't unsettling enough, the next place has something people claim still walks the roads after dark. Number 13, Elkhorn, Wisconsin. What if your town became famous because people believed a werewolf lived nearby? Welcome to Elkhorn, Wisconsin, a peaceful farming community that looks like the setting for a holiday movie. Quiet streets, family-owned businesses, cornfields, and friendly neighbors create the perfect small-town atmosphere. Then night falls, and attention shifts toward a lonely stretch of pavement known as Bray Road. For decades, locals have reported seeing a large upright creature with glowing eyes and wolf-like features. The legend became known as the Beast of Bray Road and eventually inspired books, documentaries, and countless investigations. Most sightings came from local residents rather than tourists, making the stories even more intriguing. There has never been credible scientific evidence proving the creature exists, but the legend remains part of local culture. Teenagers still dare one another to drive Bray Road after midnight, while curious visitors continue searching the surrounding fields with cameras and flashlights. Whether it's folklore, mistaken identity, or something no one has explained, the mystery refuses to disappear. Imagine driving along a deserted country road with nothing but your headlights cutting through the darkness. The trees close in around you, the wind howls across empty fields, and for just 1 second you think you see two glowing eyes watching from the edge of the woods. Maybe it's only a deer. Maybe it isn't. Either way, you'll probably keep driving without stopping.